If you don't program your mind will be programmed. If you don't wash your brain, you'll be brainwashed. Peace, family. We're back with another video. MJ the Mastermind checking in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is a channel dedicated to personal development, reality creation, manifestation, and all things in between. Right, so let's go over the quote of the day again. If you don't program your mind will be programmed. If you don't wash your brain, you'll be brainwashed. One more time, y'all. If you don't program your mind will be programmed. If you don't wash your brain, you'll be brainwashed. Man, I got this one from the great Les Brown. Man, let's jump right into it, man. So, from the ages of 0 to 7, that's when our subconscious minds are most susceptible to programming from our environment. And as we grow up, a lot of times we don't choose the things that we consume and the things that become a part of our programming, right? We can pick up a lot of things that are from our parents, people that we grow up around, that are raised around, school system, television, all of these different things. And growing up, we're bombarded with all of these different things, and it contributes to our programming, our belief system, and our identity. But as we grow up and as we enter into adulthood, it's our responsibility to go through that process of reprogramming who we are, what we believe, and things like that, because a lot of us grow up with beliefs that just aren't congruent and not in alignment with who we want to become and the results that we want to create in our lives. So reprogramming your mind is a process that everyone needs to go through as they grow up, as they enter into adulthood, right? If you don't program your mind will be programmed. If you don't wash your brain, you'll be brainwashed. So this goes back to a topic I touched on a few days ago, on the topic of just being careful with what you consume, right? Being very intentional with what you consume on a day-to-day basis, because like we're in the age of attention and information where everything is competing for your attention. Everything is competing for your energy. We have social media. I saw a funny video, yesterday where it was a comedian, and he was saying that, remember how when you used to scroll on social media, and especially on Instagram, you would get to the end and it would say you're all caught up. And now you can literally just doom scroll for hours. Your feed will never end. Right? And that's the age that we're in. There's so many different things competing for our attention. But the things that you consume program you. The things that you listen to, the things that you see, all of these things program you and enter into your subconscious mind. So you have to stand guard at the gates of your mind and be very, very intentional with what you're listening to, what you're seeing every day. Right? And that's why it's important to sometimes it's good to stay off social media, because sometimes you can't control what you consume, right? Especially if you're on the explore page or if you're just scrolling. It could be sometimes difficult to be intentional with what you consume, because social media is just going to throw whatever it feels like may be interesting to you or entertaining, or whatever it feels like can hold your attention for the longest period of time. So, y'all, man, let's continue to be intentional, right? We should only be consuming things that are molding us into the version of ourselves that we want to become, right? Because where you are now today and the place that you want to be, it's just a process of evolution and you becoming the person that's required for you to get the outcome that you desire, right? But, like we spoke about, I love Albert Einstein's quote, "A problem cannot be solved from the level of consciousness from which it is created." So Who you are now, your subconscious mind, your beliefs, your mindset, and all things in between is a representation of how you've been programmed, what you've been consuming. Because I know, like, for me, the version of myself that I am today and the version of myself that I was 10 years ago is completely different because I shifted what I consumed. 10 years ago, I used to play a lot of video games. I used to watch a lot of NBA basketball, with the 8 to 10:30 game, then the 10:30 to 1 a.m. game, just being a basketball fan. But, as you grow up, you kind of got to make a shift, right? And start aligning your habits, your behaviors with the person that you want to become. Start aligning the content that you consume with who you want to become, right? Because again, like, if you don't wash your brain, you'll be brainwashed. So if you're not intentional with the things that you're consuming every day, whether, what I recommend is obviously personal development content, things that help you to rewire your mindset, to think differently, to focus on the things that are actually going to yield the results in your life, discipline, habits, goals, vision, standards, all of these different things, versus, social media, entertainment is, it's very, very easy to get caught up in. There's so much entertainment, like I said, competing for your attention. So, just be very, very careful and make it a part of your routine to put these things that that you need to be consuming, things that help you build certain skills, things that hurt you, things that help you become a better partner in your relationship, things that help you increase your skills so that you can increase your income, right? All of these different things, right? Because don't trust the program, y'all. Because who you are today is a representation of your current program. And if you're not satisfied with you staying where you are for the rest of your life, that means you have to continue to reprogram yourself, okay? Because again, who you are today is not going to get you to where you want to go, okay? So you have to ask yourself, like, who do I need to become, right? And that's why having clarity is so important, having clarity of your vision, having clarity of your goals. And then on one of our recent videos, I talked about the person that's required, right? Getting clarity on the version of yourself that's required to actually achieve the goals and the vision that you have. And then just reverse engineering it, right? So what are the beliefs that version of yourself holds? What's their mindset? What's their perspective on certain things? What are they consuming on a day-to-day basis? I know, like, for me, one of the things that, I've been, focused on being intentional about is, not spending as much time on social media, right? Because at the end of the day, unless you are producing, a lot of times on social media, we're just consuming, right? And you can't do both, right? You're either a consumer or a producer. So you want to put yourself in position to be a producer and not a consumer, right? And then also, again, what are you consuming? Like, are you watching TV? Are you watching the news? Are you, there's so many different gossip pages and negative pages online that's just all gossip. And now we're in the age where there's so many fake stories online. It's just clickbait, right? Going back to what we were just talking about. It's just everything is fiending for your attention, y'all. Everything is fiending to get into your mind. So you really have to protect your mind, right? So, cultivate that routine. Like, what are you watching? What are you consuming, your first hour of the day? Are you waking up and just getting straight on social media and then starting to get programmed again by nonsense and stuff that really doesn't matter? I know my timeline currently is filled with, stuff that I love, but stuff that doesn't really matter right now, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's music industry, whether it's, all of these different things. These are things that were once a huge part of my life, but really isn't congruent with the person that I want to become, just in terms of getting pulled in and consumed or drawn in and consumed by, these topics of conversation. All right, y'all? So you're going to get programmed regardless, but it's up to you to choose what you're getting programmed by. Okay? You're going to get brainwashed regardless, but it's up to you to choose what you get brainwashed by. All right, y'all? So, listen again, I hope this video was helpful. Much love to everyone. Let's continue on this journey of becoming the best version of ourselves, raising our consciousness and our frequency so that we can receive all that life has to offer for us. All right? Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Really would love to conversate with you all that are watching this. All right? Much love, y'all. Till the next video, MJ the Mastermind checking out. Peace.